Hey, it's Mike. I'm back, and I'm gonna do some more Hare Krishna stuff. Um, gonna get right to it. Let's see. We got fake human, fake human. Yeah, meditating on that kiwi. We got this is a good one. So we're gonna get right to it. I'm gonna do the opening, and then I'll be right back. So let's do this. Hello.
Hello.
All right, so I'm back, and thank you for sticking out, sticking it out that opening. All right, hey, so fake human, yeah, running after that kiwi, man. Let me tell you. So before we get to the main event, of course, I want to start off for all the viewers out there that are new, and we're going to start off. I always start off with knitting cult lady. Of course, if this is your first time watching, I am Mike, and I was 20 years in the Hare Krishnas. I've been out for about 13 years, almost going on 14 years now, almost 14. All right, here we go. So first thing we got is knitting cult lady, because a lot of times these Hare Krishna gurus, and I've shown on some of my videos, how these Hare Krishna gurus will say, well, how is having a guru or Hare Krishna cult, what we do, any different than Taylor Swift or any other group or follow people that have followings or groups or celebrities or anything that people follow? How is it any different? And of course, we know it's a lot different, but it's a lot different, right? First of all, Taylor Swift isn't asking anybody to drink the water that comes off her dirty ass feet, okay, and get some kind of spiritual power from drinking her foot water. Okay, so that's one small difference. But let's hear it from knitting cult lady. Here we go.
Listen to me read it to you anywhere you get your audiobooks. So, and just to be super clear, you can make a group around anything, and I'm sure there are Taylor Swift cults. It's just the traditional process of being a fan, I believe, is not a group in that traditional sense. That is individual behavior, that is an identity, much like being a Christian. Sometimes we can go places like concerts and act out that identity.
I'm sorry, everybody. Here we go.
Can there be fan communities that are like cults? Yes, there can. And I have said famously that Swifties aren't a cult. This comment's quite interesting. Appreciate you being vulnerable and letting us into your deconstruction journey. I still struggle with grasping the distinction between a collection of individuals who hold a shared identity and a true group. From my own experiences in other fandoms beyond Taylor's, I'm thinking particularly of the intense labor expectations of individual fan translators who work for free so that non-Korean speaking fans of K-pop can gain access and participate in the fandom. Also, the kinds of fans who insist you can't be a fan of multiple groups and will bully multis out of the fandom. I've also observed this behavior in hockey fandom, usually men criticizing women, queer fans who support multiple teams and invalidating them as fans. Does that start edging into group territory because there are fans self-policing an in-group, or is there some other criteria? So you can definitely have a cult-like fan-based community What I am trying to say is that fan groups on their own are not automatically cults just because of fanaticism. Fanaticism is not what makes something a cult. Free translators working for free, that is what makes something a cult. The exploitation of labor is where you start having a problem. Why is anyone working for free in a multi-billion-dollar fandom? That's crazy. And the policing. Once you're policing a group, right? This is one of the things I talk about in Culting of America, that overall, Swifties are not policing who can be a Swiftie, what you can do as a Swiftie, and who else you can listen to. If you are in a fan base where that is happening, that should be pretty concerning. So yes, you can have a actual group. If there are translators working for this organization, they are in an actual group with those singers. That is a different story.
It is really interesting that the example that is brought up is the translators, when we all know that Hare Krishna's that's one of the biggest ways for them to get people to do free work, is to get them into doing some kind of typesetting or publishing or translating or transcribing. For me, it was subtitling Prabhupada's lectures. When I was working at ITV, I was subtitling Prabhupada's lectures. And then when I was working with Yashodanandan and the Hare Krishna, the Ritvik, the Hare Krishna Society, I was doing typesetting and web page work, and I was doing this all for free. Now, when I was working for Yashodanandan for ITV, I was getting paid. I was getting paid less than minimum wage, but I was getting paid. So I have to at least say, I have to be honest. I'm not going to say that I was volunteering work at ITV, but I was definitely getting less than minimum wage. I was getting exploited, and they were paying for my. He was paying for my prasadam, which was a lot of my pay. So there was a shady situation. But of course, I was expected to just accept it as devotional service and just take whatever I got out of it. But it is interesting that she's talking about translating as free labor, because so many times I've heard of new people getting in and they're immediately put to work, either books, of course books, but if they have any kind of knowledge of anything, it's usually translating into another language or typesetting or some kind of web services that has to do with typesetting or translating or creating some kind of publishing. So she's right on the nose with that, with the free labor. Of course, we all know that once you get into ISKCON, it's all about free labor.
Do not think they should be working for free, and that is hugely, hugely likely to be exploited, as it sounds like it already is. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote a book called Uncultured about growing up in the Children of God religious cult and going into the cult of the U.S. Army. You can get signed copies attached here.
Yes, so check her out if you haven't checked her out yet. Go check out. Hey, what do we got? We got Gyana Sham Sritran, 5471. Hey, how you doing? Glad to see you here. Glad you made it in. And yeah, hey, and look, it's saying hello to Fake Human. Free labor for a false promise. Yeah, it's all part of a big scam, and you're part of that scam too. You don't even know. You don't even know that you're part of the scam. You have no idea that you're part of the scam. I didn't know I was part of the scam. As soon as I realized it, I was out of there. And not only that, but I realized that it was pedophilia and a lot of this shady shit in Prabhupada's books. It all came crashing down at one time. So over a period of time, but it all snowballed into one big. I'm out of here. But yes, it's free labor for a false promise. So now I want to just move right into the main to the main event, which is this. This is one of their guru leaders of ISKCON, of the Hare Krishna cults, of all their cults. This guy's up near the top. He's pretty much spilling the beans. I guess I haven't really watched this video. I just watched like maybe a minute of it, and I said, let me wait, because I don't like to watch these things twice. I'm not gonna watch it and then watch it again. When I see something, I'm like, oh, I got to make a video of this because I got to document this. I got to have documented history of this before something happens. So, but I'm not going to watch it again. I'm not going to watch it again. So here we go. This guy and his views are the views of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON and the GBC. It's just him saying it. And let's hear what he has to say.
The title of this talk will be Perspectives on Child Abuse. Starting now. I'm now going to speak on a very unpleasant subject.
Oops.
What I'm going to say will definitely not be accepted or acceptable to some. I might lose some friends and disciples who strongly disagree with me. I have been asked to clarify why I support child abusers. This is not the first time that I've been called upon to do this, but I've not done so because my experience in trying to address such questions is that those who disagree, to put it mildly, tend to take things out of context and presume that any perspective other than their own means that I am a supporter of the evil of child abuse. The implication is that
that took a long time to say that. Like it took him a long time. It took him a long time to say that. If you disagree with me, you think that I'm a supporter of child abuse. Well, yeah. Basically, if you support these guys, if you support child molesters and pedophiles, and you support them after knowing what they've done, and you think that there's nothing wrong with these people that have done this, that do these things, then yes, it's exactly what we're going to think. These people are insane. He knows what he's about to say, and he knows it's unpopular, and he knows it's wrong. He doesn't care. He says just because your opinion is different than mine doesn't make it right. That's what he just said. He said, it just took him a long time to say it. He talks like this. Why is he speaking? Why is he speaking like this? Yeah, because he thinks he's special, and this is how they talk. This is how you're supposed to talk. No different than Scientology, Jehovah's Witness, just same BS, just in Hindu drag. Absolutely, abso-fucking-lutely. And now this guy's going to defend all his. He's going to look at that face. I know he's like the crypt keeper. I don't know, man. If this is what chanting does to you, I don't want any part of it. Totally mental retard. This guy is the leader of the friggin' mental ward. He completely is. He's so mental. He's going to defend Well, because Prabhupada defends it. The Prabhupada engaged in it. Let's hear what he has to say.
I support child abuse. I support child abusers, therefore I support child abuse. So I didn't take this up previously. I didn't.
He says this about karmis though, like if you associate with karmis, you get their bad karma, and you bad association and this and that. But he's going to say, hey, if I just because I hang out with these pedophiles, that doesn't mean this is such bullshit.
Respond to this because of the nastiness of those who just presume that I must be evil because I don't take the same position that they do.
What's the position that they take that is so controversial? That pedophilia is wrong? That touching little kids is wrong? That these gurus shouldn't be molesting little kids and little girls and little boys? How can you what other view is there that it's either wrong or it's okay? It's like it's not a multifaceted, it's not like a diamond where there's a million different sides to look through. Like there's like 64 different sides to this thing. No, it's either you can touch little kids, 11-year-old girls. You can either touch them and get away with it and it's okay, or it's not okay. Why are you hanging around with guys that have touched little girls and the grown kids have grown up now and are saying, I was touched, these guys have done this and that. And this guy's going to sit here and say, no, but it's not, he's going to say, it's not that easy.
So I have to say, I do not support child abusers. And you say, yes, you do. But I want to draw a distinction between child abusers and ex-child abusers.
Well, now how do you know who's an ex-abuser? Because if you knew if they were an ex-abuser, we would know. If you can look at someone and tell that they've stopped abusing someone, then you should have been able to look at them and say that's an abuser and he's going to abuse somebody. You can't. That's why these people go on a list, a sex offender list, a registry. We want to know where these people belong in jail. And then according to their crimes, what they've done, then, their punishment, they can get out, they can go on a list, they can check in, they can be on parole or probation. Their whereabouts, we need to know where these people are. They can't be around kids. They can't be around schools. We need to know where they are. There's regulations for these people. They're sex offenders. They're child sex offenders. They're not just, it's not like they get a jaywalk. They were jaywalking. This guy thinks because you can just chant this shit away? Because I'm wearing an orange outfit and got shit on my nose, I'm special? These guys are special? They're supposed to be given special treatment? Meanwhile, he thinks that someone who buys a lottery ticket needs to go to that most hellish fucking planets, according to him. They need to have friggin' hot pokers up their ass and drinking lava and shit because they don't want to chant the holy names. Meanwhile, he's like, I can pal around with child abusers. That doesn't mean what does it mean? What does it mean? You go and hang out with this Lokanath Swami and this Bhakti Vikasa Swami and all these other freaking child molester swamis. You don't seem to give a fuck about these victims of these guys. You don't care about the victims of these friggin' gurus. You go to every one of their friggin' parties, this guy. He loves them all. He promotes all of them. And he's going to sit here and say, hey, it's not bad. It ain't no big deal because people criticize him because people are criticize him for it.
It seems to be presumed that anyone who has abused children must be innately evil and cannot possibly be
What? Well, you're going to say that they're not? You're going to sit there and say they're
a
not?
devotee of any kind. Surely a devotee cannot do such horrible things. However, that's not what Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, although citing the Apichet Sudarachara verse in this context invokes horror in some, as if it doesn't apply. There are some situations where some have decided that Krishna's words in this regard, they're not applicable. They say that
He's going to say now that we have to forgive even the most abominable people. Krishna is ordering us to let these horrible child molester gurus just go on and just do whatever the fuck they want.
anyone who is chanting Hare Krishna but who's done child abuse cannot be sincere in any way whatsoever. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. A little aside here. We live in a bad world. The whole society around us is abusive of children if we see.
Hey, all of society is abusing children. So what if some of these? So what if some of our group? He's gonna find a way, man. He's gonna find a friggin' way.
How many children grow up taking drugs from a young age, having sex at a young age, are suicidal?
Can we just get back to the point that when a guru is molesting children, it's wrong? And why are you palling around with him? And he's going to say, well, because it's society, everybody's doing shit. This guy's got no defense for it, but he's going to make one up. The fact that he says ex-abusers and he's trying to defend and make a distinction, I mean, this is amazing. It's freaking amazing. And this is a holy man. This is a friggin' holy man, okay? This is a holy fucking man sitting here. Hey, Rafael, how you doing, man? Glad to see you, man. Hey, keep up to date on all the emails that we got. This is a holy man sitting here trying to explain that child molesting and child molesters, hey, come on, man. You really gonna hold that against somebody? You really want me to hold that against somebody? I mean, if I had to hold that against somebody, next thing you're gonna know is you're gonna want me to look down on someone drinking coffee or somebody buying a lottery ticket, and oh wait, I already do look down on that. Wait, what the hell is this guy?
And criminal. There are rampant kinds of child abuse which are just considered normal in so-called civilized society. No one makes a fuss. Contraception, abortion, divorce.
So what is he saying here? Can somebody help me? Is he saying that? Look at that face. Is he saying that because there's abortion and there's contraception, that it's okay for gurus to molest little girls and little boys? I guess that's what he's saying. I guess I'm so confused.
Especially in the presence of young children, fighting between parents in the presence of young children. It may be that those who are so much against.
Anybody who would take any kind of advice from this guy, whether it's spiritual, if he told me that the toilet is on the left, go down the hall and it's to the left, I wouldn't believe him. I wouldn't believe him. Look at that face. I just wouldn't believe this guy. This guy's sitting here and he is defending He's saying that gurus can molest children. It's okay for him to hang out with gurus that molest children because there's shit going on in the world. All the shit that's going on in the world that we say is bad and is going on, well, hey, you know what? It's really going on. So when my guru buddies are molesting little kids, you can't get mad at them for that. You just can't. And I can't get mad at them either. That's what he's trying to say. I can't get mad at my guru buddies for molesting little children. I can't stop hanging out with them just because they're molesting little children. I mean, there's abortion in the world. So then why follow your Hare Krishna? If everything can be excused and everything is no big deal because the world is fucked up, then it doesn't make sense to even join your shit. I just live in this fucked up world because you're saying that your fucked up world is okay, that it's okay. That your make-believe world can be fucked up because the real world is fucked up. Well, then why do I need your fucked up make-believe world? This guy makes no fucking sense. And he looks like he makes no sense.
So much. Well, we should be against child abuse, but those who are so much vocal about it don't see that.
He says we should be against it. So are you against it or are you not? He says I should be against it. We should be against it. It sounds like he doesn't know whether he's against it or not. Like, I don't know. Like, this guy is really friggin' creepy because he's like, well, we should be against child molestation.
Well, we should be against child abuse, but those who are so much vocal about it.
But so everybody's so vocal about it. We should be against it, but what? He should just say we're against it. He won't even admit. He is admitting. He's admitting that the view of this cult and of Srila Prabhupada is that we're not upset when kids are molested. They don't give a fuck about their kids. And this pod guy trying to say that he protects kids and the Ritviks protect kids, it's a bunch of bullshit too. They got their Tattva Darshan. He's just as bad as all. This guy hangs out with them. They all hang out together, God damn it. They're all Hare Krishnas. They all dress the same. They think the same. They wear the same beads. They chant the same crap. They read the same books. They ain't no different. Ritvik, Shitvik, Miskon, Piskon, all of them, it's all the same. And this guy's spilling the beans right here. He's being honest. He's saying, we don't give a fuck about our kids.
Don't see that there are much broader parameters of child abuse.
There's more abuse for you to be worried about than whether Lokanath Swami's touching little girls, or whether Bhaktividya Puri touched some girls, or did this, or this did that, or this temple is run with pedophiles, or this, or Mike Sandoval's daughter was molested by some freak in the LA temple, and the LA temple's got a couple other freaks living there, and who knows how many freaks are in all over the fucking place. This guy doesn't give a shit. None of them give a shit. They don't care. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. He's upset. What's with ISKCON and the obsession with abortion, contraception, meeting, and having sex? It's like a mental epidemic within the movement. Yet he's more obsessed with abortion and contraception and meeting than he is with his own guru buddies molesting little girls. He should be saying, dude, you fucking up my reputation by hanging out with these little kids. Now I gotta cut you off. He should be pissed off at that. No, he's pissed off at all the criticism that he's getting for hanging out with these guys. He said at the beginning, he said, I'm gonna lose followers and I'm already getting criticism because of my this and that. He already knows. He's more upset about what karmis are doing than what his guru buddies are doing. He doesn't give a fuck that his guru buddies are acting like karmis, but he's upset that karmis are acting like karmis. What a fucking fucked up head this guy has. That's what I'm saying. It fucking turn your brain into mush. He can't even see. If he's upset, all the shit that he yells about karmis are doing, his guru buddies do it, and he don't give a fuck about that. Well, hey, material world and, holy name, and I don't know, I'll think of something. I'll think of something to make it make sense, even though it doesn't make any fucking sense. Does he look like, this guy look like he makes any sense?
So yeah, be vocal about it, try to stop it, but try to keep a somewhat balanced perspective on it all.
Keep a balanced perspective. Be against it. Be against child molestation. But if it's a devotee, remember that Krishna says, hey, anybody can do whatever the fuck they want if they're chanting Hare Krishna. If you're chanting Hare Krishna, hey, don't make waves. Ritvik's hating on ISKCON is like playing on the same sports team, but there isn't any team spirit. Everyone's fighting and blaming each other. It's a circus. They're all cut from this. Yeah, the Ritviks and ISKCON arguing with each other is like the same team playing against each other because they got no one else to play against. No one else gives a fuck about Prabhupada and all their controversy. So they're just going to argue against themselves. We'll just fight against we got no one to play. The Harlem Globetrotters got no one to play, so they play against a make-believe team. And that's all they do. Because no one's going to play the Harlem Globetrotters. They're not a real team. No one gives a fuck about ISKCON. So who are they going to argue with? Well, they argue with themselves. They argue with Ritviks. Well, Prabhupada's the only guru. No, Prabhupada's not the only guru. No, we're the only gurus. No, Prabhupada's the only guru. It's a friggin' team playing against itself and think that they're friggin' gonna win the World Series when it's the same friggin' team. They both protecting child molesters. This guy's protecting them, and Madhu Pandit's protecting them, and Yashodanandan's protecting them. They're all protecting these fucking freaks.
So getting back to child abuse in ISKCON, there's a strange psychology, dichotomy, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde syndrome. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
I gotta hear this.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The one person who was basically good, but had a very bad side to him and eventually became very bad. So it may be that the devotee has some demoniac tendencies. They take to Krishna consciousness seriously, and after doing so, they succumb to some really very, very bad anarthas.
Okay, so there you go. He says that bad people come to Hare Krishna, practice Hare Krishna very intensively, but then succumb to demoniac. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense at all?
Yet they're still trying to be devotees.
Yet they're still trying to be devotees. So this is...
There but for the grace of God go I. That's a saying. I can't say I'm categorically better than a child abuser. How many sins have I done? Maybe not in.
So he wants to equate a child abuser to someone who's not abusing children, but they're the same because everybody's done something. You know, like me, I got a parking ticket and I let my registration expire, and I got fined, an extra $500 because my my car wasn't registered and I got pulled over and they're like, hey, you got expired tags, and I got a ticket for that, and I got a ticket for whatever, right? And I had to go to court. I had to go to see a judge, and I had to pay a ticket, and I had to pay a fine. So I broke the law and I paid a fine. Is that now I'm equal? Somehow I'm equal to a child molester. I'm equal to a pedophile. Well, because a pedophile breaks the law. A pedophile is breaking the law, and I broke the law because I didn't register my car on time. Is that what he's trying to say? Well, what horrible thing has this guy done? He's saying, well, I've done some horrible things. What has he done?
In this life, cow killing, murder, rape.
He murdered and raped somebody? Is that what you did? Is that what you did?
How many sins have I done? Maybe not in this life, cow killing, murder.
Oh, he's saying not in this life. He's saying, I've been a bad person, but it was in another life that I was a bad person. I maybe murdered, maybe I raped or killed somebody in another life. So I'm just like a child molester who molests children in this life. Is this fucking insanity? Is this friggin' insanity? That's what he's saying. He's saying, well, I've done bad things too. Maybe not in this lifetime, but in another lifetime, sure, I was a rapist and a murderer in another lifetime, so I'm just as bad as the guy who's molesting children now.
Child abuser. How many sins have I done? Maybe not in this life, cow killing, murder, rape, contraception, abortion, genocide. I'm in this material world because I'm sinful.
You hear what he's saying? He's saying that he's done all of those bad things. Maybe in another lifetime he did all of those bad things. Well, maybe he didn't do all those bad things in another lifetime. Maybe the child molester did all those bad things in another. What the fuck is this guy saying about other life? Why are we talking about other friggin' lifetimes, man? We're talking about, why are you hanging out with child molesters who we know why are you hanging out with child molesters that we know in this lifetime have molested and abused children in this lifetime? This guy is friggin' disgusting. This is a holy man. This is a holy man who is trying to find some way to defend the fact that he likes to hang out with pedophiles, child abusers. And he can sit there and call himself a holy man. Verbal gymnastics, verbal diarrhea. Anartha's, he's afraid to be excommunicated. He doesn't, this guy, why do these guys in this organization always end up as frail, puny little men? Because they are puny, frail, puny little men. They've always been frail, puny little men. This guy's a disgusting fucking. This is what having fucked up thoughts in your head for 60 years makes you look like. This is a disgusting fucking. He told you personally. Like, I can just look at this guy and I can tell this guy is a piece of shit. I mean, he didn't even have to open his mouth, but the fact that he opens his mouth and he proves it every fucking time. He comes out with these videos where he talks about how women are pieces of shit. Feminism is wrong and feminism is bad. I mean, you might as well just come out and just say that you hate women. I don't think women should go to school. I mean, basically that's what you're saying. And just like he's doing in this video right now, he's gonna use all of the words he can to say the simplest thing. He won't just say, hey, I don't like women because the books tell me to. He's going to say all this other shit. But that's basically what he's saying right here. Well, the books tell me that I have to excuse this guy. Well, first of all, the books don't tell you that you have to excuse this guy. You're only excusing this guy because you want to excuse this guy. If this was a Ritvik guy or some other guy that you don't like, you would be friggin' saying that he's going to the hellish planets and he's going to go for millions of lifetimes to take birth as a worm and stool, and he's going to this, that, and the other, and all this bullshit. But because it's your buddy, because it's your friggin' buddy, Lokanath Swami or Tattva Darshan or whoever it is this week or next week, you're going to sit there and say, no. Krishna says, in, chapter 9, verse whatever, he says that anyone who's chanting this, well, that's not what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, but that's what you want him to say. That's what Prabhupada wants him to say. How come when Prabhupada told Vishnu John to go jump in the river, how come Vishnu John didn't say, hey, well, what about that verse in Bhagavad Gita where I don't have to commit suicide? I can just, hey, that one that everyone pulls out of their ass? What about that verse? How come Chota Haridas didn't say, hey, well, wait a minute, what about that verse in the Bhagavad Gita where it says, you got to forgive me. All I did was get some good rice from Madhavi Devi, and now you want me to go kill myself? What about that verse in Bhagavad Gita, that one that we're always chanting? That one about, where if a sinful person, anybody engaged in devotional service, as long as they're chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, they can get away with murder. Remember that one? What about that? What about that verse? No, Chaitanya didn't say anything about that verse. When they told Chaitanya that Chota Haridas committed suicide, he was happy. He was happy that he committed suicide because he begged some goddamn rice from some old frickin' lady. And you're going to sit there and tell me that molesting children is okay. This guy's going to sit there with a smile on his face and say, no, hey, it's Vedic. It's okay. I can forgive because it says so in Bhagavad Gita.
Srila Prabhupada kindly picked me up, or tried to pick me up. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Singh.
See, they want to say, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that if it wasn't for Prabhupada picking me up. Fuck you. You weren't nothing. You weren't doing bullshit. You weren't Bonnie and Clyde. You weren't friggin' John Dillinger. You weren't friggin' running from the law. You weren't friggin' on the FBI most wanted list. You weren't in a friggin' drug cartel. You weren't friggin' passed out in fucking Haight-Ashbury doing heroin and ODing on drugs every night. You weren't doing that. This is fucking bullshit. I'm tired of hearing it. Oh, I was so fallen. Probably if it wasn't for Prabhupada, I don't know what I would be doing. You'd be doing the same bullshit you're doing now. You'd just be doing it in a different friggin' without wearing all that bullshit on your face. Fucking these friggin' false humility on steroids and all this bullshit makes me sick, especially when they're using it. Look, you want to sit there and scam somebody and say, hey, I can give you Lord Chaitanya, or I can give you hot lips, I can do you whatever, and send me money, and I'm going to give you Lord Chaitanya's grace place, or whatever the fuck these gurus think they're giving these people, Rasalila or Bhava, Gopi Bhava, whatever the fuck they think they're giving these people. That's one scam. But to use this bullshit and start defending and excusing guys that are your buddies that are going around, that you're basically an accomplice after the fact. If your buddy is molesting kids, and then you're gonna sit up there and go, well, hey, we gotta just, it ain't no big deal that he's doing that. I mean, hey, just because he, got caught and all this, it doesn't mean we shouldn't celebrate his birthday and wash his feet and bow down and do, the fuck, what the fuck? You might as well be molesting kids too. Can you imagine that in real life? Can you imagine that in real life? If some guy who got, they pick these guys up all the time, right? They pick up these guys. They go, oh, some county clerk in somewhere in some rural town somewhere. They get caught with child porn on their computer. And then they start putting these pictures up, and they go, look who he's friends with. He's a picture of him with the governor, picture of him with the mayor, picture of him on Epstein Island, picture, right? And they start going, well, why are all these people hanging around with this guy? And what they're doing with this guy? Why are you hanging around with these people that are caught molesting little kids? Why are you hanging around with? Why you have? If it was in the material, he says, "Oh, there's so much shit going on in the material world." Yeah, but you know what? In the material world, if we catch a fucking Epstein Island guy, and your picture pops up with him, and you're standing there with your tridunda, you know what we're gonna think? We're gonna go, "Why are you on Epstein Island, Maharaj? What were you doing on?" We don't just let it slide. At least we got that sense. You're sitting up there going, oh, my buddy got caught with, my guru buddy got caught molesting little kids, but you know what? No big deal. No, at least we got the sense not to sit and make a video, put it on the internet saying, hey, you know, there's no big deal with this because I'm obligated to let him go because the book says. Well, then you got to let everybody go. Every fucking buddy's got to go. Nobody can get caught. Nobody is responsible for anything. Is what he's saying. Because this is one of the lowest things you can do is you can exploit a child, with sexually exploit a little kid, a little girl, a little kid, and then just excuse it away? Well, you might as well excuse anything. Like he said. He said, well, I might have been sinful in my past life. I may have raped and murdered and extorted and genocide. So he equates child sexual abuse with rape, murder, and genocide. Yeah, those are bad things that I may have done in the past that equate with what this guy's done now. So we should just let them all just go. Well, then we got to excuse everything then. We just got to excuse everything. This guy is, and he's not the only one that thinks like this. He's the only one that's saying it.
Heno dushto karma nai jaha ami kari nai sahasra bara hari. What kind of horrible things have I not done thousands and thousands of times?
Such bullshit. To sit there and say, I'm just like this child molester because I may have done so many horrible things in my past life. He doesn't want to say, I've done horrible things in this life. He wants to say, I can pretend that I've done bad stuff in my past life. How many thousands and thousands of horrible things may I have done in my past life? So why are we getting mad at this guy in this life? What a fucking sick, fucking disgusting piece of shit these people are. All of them. They all belong in the same category as Epstein and Trump. I'm going to tell you, they all belong in the category of Epstein and Trump because they excuse this shit. They excuse it. Look at him sitting there with that smirk on his face. Sitting there with a smirk on his face when he knows what these guys have done. He knows what these gurus have done in the past. He knows what these gurus have done. He knows what these gurus are continuing to doing. It's not like they've only done it in the past. They continue to harm and abuse women and children now, today. And he's sitting there with that smirk on his a smirk on his face. And a little smirk on his face makes me want to just fucking punch him in the face. Just sit there with that smirk on his face and try to excuse away these abusing fucking degenerate creeps that they call gurus, he's going to excuse them away because there's a verse in a book that forces him to smirk and laugh at this. His hands are tied. There's a verse somewhere. There's a verse. What can I do? There's a verse, God damn it. If only that goddamn verse wasn't there, I'd be on your side. But there's a verse, and that verse makes me smirk at the thought of getting mad at these guys. It's fucking disgusting. At the end of the day, he and the rest of these clowns are convinced they are absolutely above the law, transcendental, all the way. They do. They do. Absolutely they do. They think the law doesn't apply to them. That Prabhupada's books are the law books. That's what I try to tell people out there. This is a fucking cult that they believe that they've got the right to do whatever the fuck they want because they go by their own law, Prabhupada law. You've heard of Sharia law. Well, they got Prabhupada law. And Prabhupada law tells this guy that molesting children is fine. Why is he sitting here defending this shit? Because it's in Prabhupada's books. And he's the only one who's going to come out and say it. He's not going to say, he says, well, he's saying Krishna says, but why is he applying that verse to these child molesters? Because he knows Prabhupada was 22 years old when he had sex with an 11-year-old girl. He knows that Prabhupada says that child marriage is Vedic. He knows that. He absolutely knows that. But it's Prabhupada law. It's Prabhupada law. Prabhupada says pedophilia is okay. So he's going to sit there, he slipped up and he said it. He's saying it. I'm defending it.
The response to child abuse that seems to be mainstream in devotee society at present.
Mainstream. He says there's a mainstream response to child abuse. That there's a mainstream response, and then there's another response. A response that is not mainstream. The mainstream is that it's bad. This other is that it's, I don't know, let's see what he says.
Is that offenders should be shamed as far as possible and driven out of Vaishnav society, and no one should have any sympathy for them whatsoever. Any sign, any trace of any sympathy for a devotee who has succumbed to some terrible tendency proves that the person who has sympathy is as bad, as evil as the wrongdoer. What would Srila Prabhupada say?
I don't know. It reminds me of this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where this guy got some rice, and when he brought it back, Lord Chaitanya was like, hey, where'd you get this good rice? And he said, I sent this guy out, and he begged it from the Madhavi Devi. And he said, he got that rice from Madhavi Devi. Well, you know what? I don't want to see the face of a man who would beg rice from a woman. And when they all complained about him and they said, hey, that's too harsh, he said, all of you leave or I will leave, and I don't want to look at anybody's face anymore. So I remember that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Somehow Guru Maharaj here, Guru Dev here doesn't remember that verse. Because that was over a bowl of rice. He said, I don't want to see the face of a man who will beg rice from a woman with a face. Whatever he said about faces and bowls of rice. But Maharaj here, he says, no, a man who commits who has sex with a little girl and abuses a little girl is not nearly as bad as a man who begs rice from an old elderly Vaishnavi. That's what Maharaj wants you to believe right now. He wants you to believe that story in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Chota Haridas committing suicide over a bowl of rice was real. That really happened, and that was appropriate. It was appropriate for Chota Haridas to kill himself over a bowl of rice. But yet, Lokanath Swami, he doesn't feel obligated to kill himself after molesting a little girl. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny how that works? A real devotee killed himself just because Lord Chaitanya was upset over a bowl of rice. But Lokanath Swami doesn't, and Bhaktividyapurna Swami and all these other molester, Rameshwar and Bhavananda, and I can't even, like I said, I don't even know the names. I don't even know the names anymore. There's so many. These guys get a pass. They get a pass. Chota Haridas, he got what was coming. He got exactly what he deserved for stealing, for begging. All he did was beg a bowl of rice. Now, come on. He begged a bowl of rice from an elderly Vaishnavi. And when they told Chaitanya that he committed suicide, Chaitanya was happy. He smiled. He smiled. But here, Gurudev here, he doesn't want to say a bad thing about these gurus that molest little kids. He doesn't want to say anything bad about it. Why? Why not? Because child molesting is okay. Begging rice, that's an offense. Begging rice is an offense. Molesting little Devidasis, Ramananda Roy, he was rubbing on some little girls. He was one of the most intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya. Shit, Chaitanya was telling people to go visit Molester Pod over there. Just go when he doesn't have a couple of Devidasis with him, because otherwise he'll need to take them to a secluded place, and then he can bathe them naked and touch their bodies and everything, and then when he's done, he can talk to you. Meanwhile, you got any of that good rice? I could really go for some of that good rice. This is fucking bullshit, man. If you're in this friggin' cult, you need to get the fuck out.
It seems to me unlikely that he would totally reject and abandon a misbehaved devotee after who knows how many births we take to Krishna consciousness.
Oh yes, the imaginary births that we take to Krishna, like yeah, why would Chaitanya do that? Why would Chaitanya, after Chota Haridas took so many births, and then he finally gets to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and then all he does is get a bowl of rice, and then Chaitanya banishes him, and he commits suicide. Why would Chaitanya do that when he's the most merciful? He's coming down to give us this, and then he does that to Chota Haridas over a bowl of rice. A bowl of rice. And Chota Haridas had no idea that this verse in the Bhagavad Gita was like, hey, that's my get out of free card. That's my get out of jail free card. I don't have to go drown myself in the river. If he didn't have to drown himself in the river if he just would have remembered that Bhagavad Gita 9:16 or whatever the hell it is. I can't see what that is. I have a bad screen because I'm having computer issues. What is that? Oh yeah. There's nothing in those books about living life. Just roll your eyes into your head and chant. I know it's It's such bullshit. And then not only that, not only is there nothing in these books except brainwashing to make you defend pedophilia. I mean, if I got to defend, this is what they told me. Hey man, Tattva Darshan, he's not a child molester, and if you don't listen to us and believe us, then you're a evil demon. And if we need to come down there to LA and settle this man to man out in front of the LA town, we'll meet you out there. This is insane. This is insanity. What these guys are saying. I can't believe my ears. What a disgusting, bloody, psychopathic freak. This guy is a guru. He's a leader. This is one of the top, and I'm not, Rafael, I'm not telling you, This guy is one of the leaders. He's one of the top gurus. He writes books. He's got a lot of followers. He's respected. He's out there, and he's very old school, traditional. I don't know what you call it. He's very, by the book, whatever. He's a fucking freak. He doesn't know what he's saying. If he was by the book, he'd say, yeah, well, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, I don't want to see the face of a man who begs rice from a... That's what he'd say. How come they forget this verse when they always forget this verse? Exactly. It's that good rice, man. It's that good fucking rice. He was like... I just think... I gotta just say, man, let me get out of here. I gotta go. I gotta just take a moment. I gotta take a moment, man. I gotta take a moment to talk about this good rice. It's the fact that the first thing he said, the very first thing, Chaitanya comes in the room, and Bhagavan Acharya, whoever it was, Bhagavan Acharya, he says, here I cooked you lunch, man. Here's some lunch. I cooked you lunch. And the first thing he does is he says, oh, wow, that's some really good rice. Where did you get that good rice? I mean, that's the first thing out of his mouth. He is chastising him over this rice, and he's upset over this rice. This is how strict he is. You're gonna tell me that this man is so strict that he's like, where'd you get this? He suspected something. He suspected something was going on. What the hell is going on? Wait a minute. What's up with this rice? And he was right. He's like, because he's the supreme person. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. He's like, well, you got some, and he's like, what? And he's like, wait, no, he did it. He did it, right? Like, because rule number one, blame the other guy. He did it. So he goes, who did it? He's like, who? He says, Chota Haridas. I sent him off with him. He's like, get him out of here. I don't ever want to see his face. I don't want to see the face of a man whose face has seen the face of a woman with rice. I don't want to get away. You want me to believe that story? I mean, I'll believe it. I mean, because, Chaitanya was crazy. You want me to believe that story? Okay, I'll believe that story, but why do you want me to accept this verse about, hey, if a guy's chanting, come on. You're going to tell me Chota Haridas wasn't chanting Hare Krishna? He wasn't sincerely serving Mahaprabhu? He was not, hearing attentively? He wasn't committing offense. What did he do? He went and got some rice. I mean, Bhagavan Acharya told him, go get some rice for Mahaprabhu. He said, okay, I'll go get the rice. He went to an old Vaishya. He did absolutely nothing wrong. He got the rice. So you want me to believe that Chaitanya was so upset, He said, get him out of here. I don't ever want to see him again. Okay, I'll believe that. But you want me to believe at the same time, you want me to believe that there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that would have fixed that whole thing. There's a verse that would have fixed that. That these guys read every day. And every day they're reading Bhagavad Gita, like every single day. They're reading Bhagavad Gita. Right? They're not reading Chaitanya Charitamrita because that hadn't been written yet. They're reading Bhagavad Gita every day and Bhagavatam every day. So they know that verse is there. They know that verse is there. No one said, not even Rupa Goswami, none of them, not one Swami, not even Bhattacharya and Sarvabhauma didn't say it. No one brought up that verse. And Sarvabhauma was he was a scholar, right? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he knew everything. He should have known that there was a verse that would have got Chota Haridas off the hook. In fact, they should have went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and they should have said, hey, can you find us a verse where we can let this guy go? Because we kind of like him. He's kind of cool. And Sarvabhauma should have said, let me check the Veda base. Hey, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita 9:16 or whatever, where, it says that if anyone who's chanting, whatever we chant, because I'm not sure what we're chanting right now, because it's definitely not Hare Krishna, because we're not chanting that. But it says in the Bhagavad Gita somewhere that anyone who's chanting, whatever it is we're chanting, if they're doing it with sincerity and in devotional service, then everyone's got to excuse them. So he didn't find that verse. He didn't know. He was able to debate the greatest scholars. He was able to debate the greatest scholars of his time. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was such a great scholar of the Vedas and Bhagavad Gita and all of that. He knew all of that stuff, right? And he didn't know that verse. He could not find a verse that would save Chota Haridas's life. There was no way. No way. For some of us, we were introduced to ISKCON by a punk rock singer jumping around on stage. Yeah. The face. Yeah, the Shelter, there was like Shelter and the Cro-Mags. I remember those guys. I was around back then. I was definitely around back then. So then you got this guy. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a much greater personality. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya will be remembered through history if he was a real person. I'm sure he was a real person. If he was a real person, this guy won't be remembered as anything. This guy's going to be forgotten the day after he passes away, and no one's going to ever remember that this guy was even around.
Srila Prabhupada, he did reject some disciples, but not for misbehavior, even bad misbehavior. And especially, there's at least one case we know of a devotee who had performed very valuable service, had the potential to do much more. It came to light that alongside doing his valuable service, he was having multiple fall downs. He was a sannyasi GBC member. I'll say the name.
Yeah, there you go. Multiple fall downs. You can't even. It's
because it is mentioned.
It's not multiple fall downs. The guy was breaking his vows on purpose. These guys they're so full of shit. They're so full of shit. He's like, look, I'm just like you because in my past life I could have done something really horrible. is so stupid. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. This freak recently rejected his disciple for sporting a beard. I say that dude was a lucky one. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, see, look, here you go. So he rejected his disciple for sporting a beard, but molesting a little girl, molesting little kids, that we have to, Krishna says. Now, how come his disciple didn't say, his disciple should have said, hey, but Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that, don't I get the same respect as, don't I get the same treatment as Lokanath Swami? I mean, why can you, why can you, why do you excuse Lokanath Swami, but you don't excuse my beard? You can't excuse my beard, but you're going to excuse a guy who's having sex with little boys or little girls? Are you serious? Hey, sorry you got to leave for football practice, but it's great. I'm glad you were here, man. I'm glad you stopped by. Imagine sitting at the feet of a boy Charan Day and Keith Ham. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? It's this guy. This guy is. He's like if Keith Ham and a boy Charan Day had a child.
And anyway, in Harishari Prabhu's Transcendental Diary, the name is Madhu Dvisha. He was a GBC member and a sannyasi. Srila Prabhupada liked him very much. He had done tremendous service in picking up the Australian ISKCON. So anyway, I'm going to read from Harishari Prabhu's Transcendental Diary. Pushta Krishna Maharaj spent a long time on the phone in the evening.
So first of all, okay, you know what? I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this prick. We know what he thinks and how he feels, and what he's going to do. But what he's going to do right now, which I'm not going to entertain. I'm not going to entertain this anymore. What he's going to do now is he's going to take one specific incident that Prabhupada had with one specific disciple over specific events in this disciple's devotional life. I'm not trying to explain it. I'm just putting it in context. Excuse me. Prabhupada had a disciple, Madhuvisa. I knew him at the LA temple. He has since passed away. Again, nice guy, but it was Madhuvisa, and it's not. I don't excuse this guy, but anyway, Madhuvisa had a history, right? He had his, whatever. He had fall downs, moving from sannyas to whatever ashram, whatever. He had problems, whatever. And Prabhupada had a relationship with him, so Prabhupada treated him a certain way, whatever way. That's between him and Prabhupada. If Prabhupada kicked him out and let him come back in, and then kicked him out, let him come back in. First of all, we have to be honest. A fall down is a fall down. Breaking your vows is breaking your vows. Child sexual abuse, pedophilia is another. That's something else. That's not breaking. That's not having a hamburger. That's not having illicit sex. That's not going out. That's not like this guru that got caught with a bar girl in a bar with a hooker or whatever. That's one thing. But child sexual abuse, even in the material world, is its own level of depravity. So that when a child abuser, a pedophile, a child abuser goes to jail, even the jail hierarchy says you're the lowest of the low. Okay, among people incarcerated, pedophiles are at the bottom. That's how society looks at it. That's how Karmi society looks at it. ISKCON society, they don't look at it that way. Child sexual abuse, pedophilia, is not that bad. It's just not a big deal. They don't care. This guy doesn't care. They just don't care. They don't care about their kids. And I'm sorry to say, what we're finding out now with Epstein Island is that a lot of rich people, they don't care about their kids. People don't care about kids. That's why there are movements to protect kids. Protect the children, no child marriage. Things for children, to protect children from society, because society preys on kids. But these are groups of people that are like, the Kids Foundation and Orphanage Foundation and groups that want to do things for underprivileged kids and kids. Those things are underfunded. They're not run by the government. They're not like where a lot of money goes, like March of Dimes and children's hospitals and Shriners hospitals for children and all of these things. Teenage runaways, teenage drug abuse, all these things for kids, underage kids, underprivileged kids. These things are not, people don't care about those things. There's like these SNAP benefits. They cut off SNAP benefits and they're going, well 16 million kids are going to go without food. I don't give a fuck. Trump didn't care. Senators didn't care. Congress didn't care. They said, hey, we're going to shut down the government and if you don't give these, they said, well, we're just going to withhold SNAP benefits. We're just going to starve kids. There's a whole percentage of the country that was like, yeah, starve the kid. We don't care. You would think the whole country would be like, hey, you can't starve kids. Nope, they didn't give a fuck. They pulled that money from the U.S. aid, and they're saying that 600,000 kids have died because of that in the last 10 months or however many months. Nobody cares. You hear anybody at the UN talking about all the kids that are dying because of the money and the kids of this and that? Every now and then there are UN children's things, but those are the ones that are hurting. They're the ones that are always asking for money. They're not overfunded. You know who's overfunded? People that build bombs and planes and guns and all. They got plenty of money. But the orphanage and the children and the SNAP benefits and anything that has to do with kids, they're asking for money. They need money. Why is that? Why is that? Nobody cares. And I'm not saying nobody cares, like nobody cares. Obviously, I care, you care. There are people that care. But when you look at the big picture of everything as far as like society and kids, they're down on the list. ISKCON as an organization, kids, they're not even on the list. They don't give a fuck about their kids. Only thing they care about are books. You tell them that their books, there's something happened to their books, or they can't sell their books, or you can't, and then shit'll hit the fan. But kids being molested and gurus molesting kids, the guy don't give a fuck about no kids being molested. He couldn't care less about kids being molested. He cares more about me. He cares more about me sitting here talking shit about Prabhupada than he cares about kids. I'll tell you that right now. He hears about me talking about him, talking about Prabhupada and all this. He could be like, oh, he's an offender and he's this, he's going to the door. But Ask him about Lokanath Swami and ask him about these kids that have been molested. Ask him about he ain't gonna want to talk about that. He don't give a fuck about that. That's something he don't care. He just don't care. You can't sit there and defend the abusers and then say that you are against or you care about children and you're against child abuse. You cannot do it. You can't sit there and tell me, well, I gotta defend this guy because Krishna says in the because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, so now I can't get mad at the guy. I can't get mad at the guy. I have to go. I have to go to his birthday party. I have to go. Why? No one's telling you you have to. You don't have to go. You don't have to go to his birthday party. You don't have to go where he is. You don't have to do that. No, I have to. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if I don't, worship the feet of a man whose face has seen the man's feet of a man, that's fucking bullshit. These pricks like this, as long as this prick is allowed to go around and preach and make his videos and talk this bullshit, this child abuse is going to go on because he's promoting it. He's allowing it. He's not speaking out. He's just sitting there. Oh, well, we're all
informing
supposed to
all
be
the
against it.
temples in Madhudvisha zone on the east coast that he, Madhudvisha, has fallen and is no longer the GBC.
So back to that. So he's going to say that because of what Prabhupada did with this one guy, that now we have to adopt that as our whole attitude towards everybody? Are you insane? Because Prabhupada did something, because Prabhupada loaned somebody $500 for something, and now everybody who comes to us, we are obligated, if they ask us for $500, I have to loan them $500 because Prabhupada loaned them $500, so now I'm obligated because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who comes to you, and that fucking, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? This guy's brain is mush. You're going to tell me that this guy is a holy man?
However, when he came to report his actions to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was angry. Prabhupada was made aware of the initial suspicions in Australia, but his idea had been to keep the affair quiet until he reached New York, because Srila Prabhupada had reassigned Madhudvisha, taken him out of the Australia zone. He'd heard about his multiple fall downs and reassigned him to a GBC zone in New York. He didn't remove him from GBC service. So Prabhupada wanted to keep the affair quiet.
So he's saying that. Because Prabhupada wanted to keep it quiet and didn't remove him, then we should do that with all these guys who do anything, no matter what they do. Even if they murder a devotee and they're in jail, we should still call them Tirtha Maharaj and Swami Maharaj, whatever. These guys are insane.
Until he reached New York, where he could see Madhudvisha personally and attempt to clear everything up without a scandal. He wanted to save him, and he was upset that news of
Is that what this Bhakti Vikasa is going to do? Is he going to take all these child molesters that are accused of child molesting? He's going to take them and have them come live with him so he can watch them and see what they're doing? This is such bullshit. He's trying to draw an analogy between something that Prabhupada did 60 fucking years ago and him palling around with known child molesters. Guys that have admitted to being child molesters. Guys that have been in jail with child molesters. And his excuse is like, well, we have to let everybody. But what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Hey, he wants you to think he's a holy man. like some kind of toxic masculinity, very toxic, perverted, disgusting masculinity. But you know, it's not even masculinity, because does this guy look masculine to you? Is this toxic masculinity? I think
Madhu Drisha's fall down was now widespread.
I think
He
this is
rebuked
closeted
Kush.
homosexuality, if you ask me. I think he's a closeted, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm not homophobic at all. But I think this guy is closeted homosexual. That's what I think. The bad flip side is people enable and defend these organizations. A businessman will always sell a product that people want. You know, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. So this guy sits there and he preaches this. He explains that it's in their books. He explains Prabhupada's attitude. He explains why he's making a case for what I'm saying, is that this is what Prabhupada wanted. This is Prabhupada's law. This is all in Prabhupada's books. And he's making my case, is that this is what Prabhupada wants. This is in their books. This is how they interpret it. This is their philosophy, that pedophilia is okay. They create these guys like a factory. This guy is validating everything that I've been saying. He's actively promoting these pedophiles. He says there's nothing wrong with them. He's saying we gotta forgive them. He's saying that they're not as bad as, he's given every excuse he can. He said everything. He started out by saying, hey, we've all done stuff in past lives and this past life. He started out by saying that, you know, pedophilia and everything, you know, who hasn't eaten a hamburger? And then he moved on to, you know, it's not that bad. And then he says, well, Prabhupada says it in Bhagavad Gita. He says, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says we have to forgive these guys that are doing anything. So he went from whatever to we have to forgive them. And then now he's giving an example that Prabhupada, that when Madhuvisa, he doesn't give an example of a child abuser. He says he's giving an example of Madhuvisa who just fell down, which is not the same thing. But then he shows how Prabhupada wanted to cover up. He didn't want people to know about it. He wanted to keep it a secret. So he gave away the game there, showing how Prabhupada wanted to take care of it, draws a false analogy, because Prabhupada pulled Madhuvisa from Australia, brought him back to New York where Prabhupada could watch him, see what he was doing. Bhakti Vikasa doesn't say, well, Lokanath, you know, I have my eye on him. No. He just says we should forgive him because he's gonna put all of these reasons into one basket and say, based on all of this stuff, we got to let everybody go. Because who hasn't done something wrong? Pedophilia is in Prabhupada's books. Krishna says we got to let everybody go. Prabhupada let Madhuvisa go when that doesn't even compare to what Tattva Darshan has done. Tattva Darshan doesn't compare to Madhuvisa. You can't say that because Prabhupada let Madhuvisa go or let him stay, Tattva Darshan can stay. And so this guy makes all of these false arguments, logical fallacies, bogus arguments, misrepresents the truth, fake everything, and he's going to sit there like he's a holy man. That this guy's a holy man when this whole video is nothing but bullshit. He can't even be honest. You know, he should have just came up on the thing and said, hey, you know, these guys have done bad stuff, but you know what? Everybody has done bad stuff, And in a mood of forgiveness, I try to keep a mood of forgiveness, and you can criticize me for having a mood of forgiveness, but these are some of the worst people. They've done some of the most horrible things that you can do. And just like Jesus, he was forgiving of everyone. So I'm trying to be in a mood of forgiveness. And from now on, I'm going to have that mood of forgiveness from afar. I'm going to forgive them, but I'm not going to associate with them. I'm just going to be forgiving. And I'm going to have a mood of forgiveness and hope that they repent and they change their lives for the horrible things that they've done. And I'm not going to associate with them anymore. I will no longer be going to their guru pujas or their vyasa pujas or their temples and like that. But I still consider them my god brothers, and I wish them the most in their spiritual life, and I hope Krishna blesses them, and blah, 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 and go on and say, hey, that's it, I'm done with it. No, he can't do that. He can't do that. He can't do that. He's going to say, no, what they did is not really bad, and it's in the books, and Krishna says we have to forgive anyone who does even abominable things, and Prabhupada said that Prabhupada let people come back who didn't do anything near what they did. So I'm just going to keep pounding around with the most despicable people that we have in our movement. These are the most despicable people we have, and I'm going to hang out with them. Not only have they been deceiving their disciples, taking donations when they're not, when they've been fooling around and doing stuff, but the stuff that they've been doing is abominable. It's not like Trivikram had sex with his disciple. These are guys that have been touching and molesting little girls, exploiting children. These are people that have been exploiting children. What else? What other degenerate things have they been doing that we don't know about? We're not talking about a guy who cheated on his wife. We're not talking about a guy who left his wife and probably said, oh, you don't want to be married anymore or whatever. Or a guy who come on, they all fell down by leaving their wives or fooling around when they weren't married. What else were they doing? Come on. They weren't with little kids. But even if they were with little kids, probably would have said, that's fine. I was 22 and my wife was 11. These guys are sick fucks. Just like Jesus. Guess what this guy wants you to think? Oh, I'm being compassionate. I'm being, I'm this and that. I'm holy man. You ain't no fucking holy. You're a fucking scammer.
Krishna. Now you have made it impossible for him to return. And Srila Prabhupada wanted Madhudvisha to return.
Yeah, because back then he only had 500 people. He didn't want Madhuvisa to leave because Madhuvisa was able to bring in lots and lots of cash. Now, it's not the same movement. It's not 1972, you fucking freak. Prabhupada's not even here. Madhuvisa's not here. The organization is not running the same as it was back then. There's no reason to keep anybody. Everybody's replaceable in this friggin' movement now. You don't give a fuck. You kick somebody out for having a beard, and now you're talking about Prabhupada didn't want anyone to leave, didn't want Madhuvisa to leave, but yet you'll kick a guy out for having a fucking beard. It's the hypocrisy of these guys. Oh, now you've made it impossible for this guy to. Hey, 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 hairy balls to you, Eliana. Glad to see you here. He's talking about, oh, Prabhupada was upset that Madhuvisa wouldn't come back, but you don't give a fuck that you just kicked out a guy for having a beard and made it impossible for him to come back. He doesn't give a fuck about his disciple with a beard, but he wants us to think that Prabhupada, that kicking Madhuvisa out for cheating on his wife or whatever was upsetting the Prabhupada. This is such bullshit. Such bullshit. These Hare Krishna, they think we're stupid. They think you're stupid out there. He's talking to you, Hare Krishnas out there. He's trying to explain to you, Hare Krishnas, why they protect pedophiles. It's exactly what he's trying to do. And he thinks you're friggin' stupid. That you'll believe this crap. That you'll believe this crap. He's betting that your mind is so mush that you'll say, yeah, he makes sense. None of this shit makes sense. He just kicked somebody out for having a beard, but he wants you to think that Prabhupada didn't want Madhuvisa to leave. And we didn't want Madhuvisa to leave because Madhuvisa was bringing in fucking hundreds of dollars a day or thousands of dollars a month. Madhuvisa could lead a team, a whole team of book distributors to go out and do Harinam and chant and bring in money. Prabhupada didn't want Madhuvisa to leave. Madhuvisa was a big time guru like you. If Prabhupada had enough Madhuvisas, he wouldn't give a shit about Madhuvisa leaving. Not for being for making him look bad like a child molester or something like that. You gotta be out of mind. Prabhupada was dumb, but he wasn't that dumb. This guy wants you to think. This guy thinks you Hare Krishna are stupid. That you'll believe this shit.
Later on in the Transcendental Diary, we find Harishari Prabhu recalling that Pushta Krishna Swami himself fell down. Harishari Prabhu writes, Pushta Krishna's fall was not unexpected. Srila Prabhupada pinpointed the cause. He said it was because he had made Madhudvisha's difficulties a public issue. Prabhupada had wanted to keep it quiet and deal with Madhudvisha on his own, for despite his entanglement in illicit activity, Madhudvisha was still doing service. Prabhupada said that he had wanted to rectify him and keep him in devotion.
So there you go. So even though Madhuvisa was having illicit sex, he was still doing his service. So he was hiding it. He hadn't got caught. He was still scamming, even in front of Prabhupada when Prabhupada was there. Madhuvisa was scamming. Prabhupada caught him. Didn't want to kick him out because he was bringing in money, even though he was scamming, even though he was faking it. And then Pushta Krishna was like, no, he's faking it. And he's getting away with it. No, fuck that. I'm going to expose him because I'm not faking it. And why does he get, and then so Prabhupada's like, well, no, wait, you're good. Now you fucked up. I got to translate everything into fucking real, I got to translate everything into the real world, man. And so then Pushta Krishna falls down, but their fall down is not molesting little kids. Molesting the little kids in the Gurukul. That's not what they did. They're just screwing around. Screwing each other's wives or somebody else's wife or screwing somebody, whatever, screwing somebody. That's all they were doing. It's still however Prabhupada dealt with it is between Prabhupada and them, and I don't think Prabhupada dealt with it correctly. Obviously, if Prabhupada had kicked him out, if Prabhupada had done the right thing and kicked him out and said, you get caught fucking up and breaking my vows and going back on this shit, out. I don't want to see the face of a face that gets rice and breaks vows and go. No, couldn't do that. Prabhupada wanted that money. He wasn't going to kick these guys out. Lord Chaitanya kicked him out. Get the fuck out. Chaitanya didn't care about money. He cared about that rice. You got that good rice. You got that good rice. You get the fuck out of here with that good rice. Prabhupada's like, oh, you're having sex? You're breaking my vows. You're hiding it from me, and you're doing all this stuff, and meanwhile you're giving lectures and you're leading kirtan. You're doing all this stuff behind my, and you're having it. Prabhupada was pissed. He didn't kick him out, though. He didn't kick him out. He wanted that money. He wanted that money. He's a delusional freak. MAGA's a cult. I know a lot of people in ISKCON support Trump and MAGA. Yes, because they believe with all the same things. They believe they're against abortion. They're against women's rights. They're against everything. Although now now the Indians are going to get rounded up and deported, and ISKCON's going to be like, well, hey, you're rounding up all of our Indians. You're rounding up all of our help. You're deporting all of our people. We just want you to deport the blacks. We just wanted you to deport the blacks. That's all, because probably didn't like the blacks. So it's bad karma to be a black person. So we support Trump as long as he's doing all the stuff that we don't like. We're anti-science. We're anti-intellectual. We're anti-knowledge. We're anti-university. We're everything. Anti-feminism. We're anti-civil rights. We're just read Prabhupada's books. It's all right there. He's anti-everything. They're racist. They're sexist. They're homophobic. They're pro pedophilia. They're everything. It's white supremacy masquerading as friggin' spiritual organization. That's all it is. Probable fraud in the holy rites. Yeah. So this guy wants me to believe. That Lord Chaitanya was happy with Chota Haridas committing suicide over a goddamn bowl of rice. But I'm not supposed to get upset when a guru is molesting children. Maybe the books make more sense on snuff. Yeah, they probably do. That's an experiment. You do some psychedelic drugs or something, and then read some of these books. Read the 5th canto, and then see what happens. See if you don't go into a psychotic state. I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. But yeah, so I'm going to play one more little bit from this guy. I know I keep breaking it up because I really don't want to hear. I don't really want to hear it yet.
Service. But without consultation, Pushta Krishna had advertised the situation And this was counter to his desire, to Srila Prabhupada's desire. So Srila Prabhupada was looking to rectify him.
So what he's saying is, I guess what he's saying is the proper way to handle these things when a guru is molesting children is to do it in secret and don't publicize it. Don't let anyone know that the child molestation is going on. Keep it under wraps and just let him slide. That's basically what he's saying, right? That's what he just said. He's saying that according to what Prabhupada did in the past, he wanted to just keep it under wraps. He didn't want anyone to know, and he would rectify it himself.
Nowadays, with the internet, it's impossible to hide anything.
So, he says, unfortunately, we're not able to hide stuff nowadays. He just came right out and said it. Let's hear it again.
Nowadays, with the internet, it's impossible to hide anything. Is that good or is it bad? Well, whether it's good or whether it's bad, it's just a fact of life in the present age.
He doesn't know if it's good or bad when it comes to hiding the information of a child molester from the public. He thinks it's good to hide that information from the public. He doesn't think the public should know if there's a child molester in your neighborhood or in your workplace or in your school. I certainly didn't know that there was a child molester in my daughter's school, and we paid the price for that. And he thinks that's a good thing. He thinks it's a good thing that the public doesn't know if there's a child molester lurking in their school where their children are.
But we can see that Srila Prabhupada's approach is.
But we can see that Prabhupada's approach was to hide it and keep it hidden. And that's why there was widespread child abuse in his schools. He didn't want anyone to know. And when they brought it to Prabhupada's attention that there was molestation going on, Prabhupada did nothing about it. And that's the Prabhupada approach that he's talking about.
Now, falling down with women, it's serious misbehavior for anyone, for a sannyasi especially. Child abuse is in a different category, we can say, but it's falling down with a woman. You can say, well, that's abuse of the woman, or anyway, child abuse is particularly horrible. One point is that falling down with women is so common within ISKCON. And illicit sex is so much accepted in mainstream society that we tend to treat it quite lightly. Certainly those men who fall down with women, they don't get roasted in the same way that.
I don't know what point he's trying to make here.
Child abusers do. For a Brahmin to fall down, for someone who's supposed to be a Brahmin who engages in illicit sex, meat eating, taking of intoxication, gambling, it's in traditional Vedic culture, these are all considered very sinful. Nowadays we don't consider them so, but mainstream society still considers child abuse to be very, very bad. That might change.
This is really weird. I don't know where he's going, and he just said that might change. I'm going to play that again because this is really creepy. This is really creepy.
It's child abuse to be very, very bad. That might change. You never know. I'm not saying it's good if it changes, but it's better if it changes that mainstream society recognizes that any form of illicit sex is sinful, is bad.
I don't know what he's trying to say. don't know what he's trying to say right there about it changing. Because it can only change one way. It can't. Child abuse, child sex is illegal. It's pedophilia. And if it was to change, there's only one way that it can change, and that would be for it to become legal. So he's saying in the future, maybe it'll be legal. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say. I don't know. I think what he's trying to say is it's Vedic. He doesn't want to say that it's Vedic, but he's trying to say that it's Vedic, and that maybe one day society will catch up to Vedic society. I think that's what he's implying there.
But it's better if it changes that mainstream society recognizes. Nowadays we don't consider them so, but mainstream society still considers child abuse to be very, very bad. That might change. You never know. I'm not saying it's good if it changes, but it's better if it changes that mainstream society recognizes that any form of illicit sex is sinful.
So I still don't understand what he's saying. It's still very, very creepy. The fact that he wants to merge child abuse and make child sexual abuse just illicit sex. He's saying that there's illicit sex with women, and then there's child abuse, and maybe one day in the future it'll just be illicit sex, because that's really the problem. It's not it's not the age of the woman or the child. It's just the act itself is what's bad. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to understand what he's saying, because he's speaking in this gobbledygook.
It's better if it changes that mainstream society recognizes that any form of illicit sex is sinful, is bad.
So he's saying the flaw with society is that society. So it's not that child abuse is wrong. It's that they don't consider sex with women the same as child abuse. That's what he's saying. He's saying that sex with women, illicit sex with women, is just as bad, is worse, is no one. He's saying no one's focusing on that. He's saying no one is focusing on consensual sex being bad. They're just focusing on child sex being bad. That's basically what it boils down to. He's saying society needs to recognize that consensual sex is just as bad as child abuse. Let's just say what it is. That's what he's saying.
Very, very bad. That might change. Illicit sex, meaty men who fall down with women, they don't get roasted in the same way that child abusers do.
He's complaining. So here he's complaining that men who fall down with men who have consensual sex with women, consensual sex, non-married consensual sex, should be shamed just like a child abuser. That's what he's saying right here.
For a Brahmin to fall down, for someone who's supposed to be a Brahmin who engages in illicit sex, meat eating, taking of intoxication, gambling, it's in traditional Vedic culture, these are all considered very sinful. Nowadays, we don't consider them so, but...
So what he's saying is, he's kind of sliding this in, but this is the point that he's making. He's saying, let me get on screen here. what he's saying, or what he just said was, because again, I'll translate it if you didn't catch it. What he's saying is, child abusers are no different than meat eating and gambling and illicit sex and following the four regs, whatever the four: meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and child abuse. It's all. It's the same. That's all the same. So if why are we singling out child abusers when we don't? Why do we look at child abusers extra disgustingly when we don't look at meat eating and buying a lottery ticket and drinking a beer? We don't look down on those people. So why do we look down on child abuse? That's what he's saying. That's the argument that he's making right here. Never could understand why dirtbags join squeaky clean organizations. And that's, what, you bring up a good point, and it has to do with thoughts. And it's kind of like why are the strongest homophobes closeted gay men? It's the same type of thing going on up here. It's like I hate myself for who I am, for who I really am. So I'm going to live a lie and pretend I'm the opposite of what I really am. So I'm a gay man. I want to be a gay man, but I'm afraid to live as a gay man. So I'm going to pretend I'm a really macho, non-gay, a gay-hating man. So now I'm going to be a gay-hating man. I hate gays. I can't stand them because really inside I am gay. So that's my defense mechanism. So maybe that's why these dirtbags like this guy who has fucked up thoughts in his head already, he joins this organization that's supposed to be spiritual and this and that or whatever because he can't deal with the fact that he's not that person. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but maybe one has to do with the other. This guy is really creepy, and what I'm trying to say though is that they're all like this. It's not just this guy; it's all of them. He's extra creepy. I'm going to give you that. This guy's extra creepy, absolutely extra creepy, but they're all creepy. It's doing that backflip for that Kiwi, man. So that's anyway. This has been really disgusting. This guy is really friggin'
Mainstream society still considers child abuse to be very, very bad. That might change.
The way he says it there, and his look and this weird look on his face and the whole thing when he says society, he's almost saying it as if society is wrong. Like he's saying it like society is wrong to consider it horrible. Like maybe that's going to change, and then he kind of catches himself and says, I don't know if it's good or bad. What do you mean you don't know if it's good or bad? What do you mean you don't know if it's good or bad? You don't know if child abuse is bad? He doesn't know if child abuse is bad because he's conflicted by what it says in Prabhupada's books. He doesn't want to come out and say that he doesn't. Look, I put it out there, man. It's in Prabhupada's books. He says 25-year-old men and prepubescent girls, 12-year-old girls, underage girls. He says it in his books. He says it in his conversations. He says it. This guy knows Prabhupada says it. They all know that Prabhupada says it.
You never know.
You never know.
I'm not saying it's good if it changes, but it's better.
What the fuck? How can it change? It can only change one way. and that is for people to accept it. He's saying, maybe people will accept child abuse in the future. Why the fuck would people ever want to accept child abuse in the future? He's saying because it's Vedic. What this fucker is saying. In what world does someone say, well, maybe, child abuse is horrible now, but maybe that'll change in the future? What fucking sick fuck thinks that? What holy man? What fucking holy man is going to sit there and go, you know what? Maybe in the future child abuse won't be so bad.
If it changes that mainstream society recognizes that any form of illicit sex.
Any form of illicit sex is bad. Child abuse, unmarried people, consensual sex between two adults is just like child abuse. That's what he's trying to say. He wants that to happen. He wants consensual sex to be thought of as like we think of child abuse. Meanwhile, that's what he says. Meanwhile, he pals around with these pedophiles and says we got to excuse him. This dude's all over the map. This guy doesn't know if he's coming or going. He doesn't know if it's wrong, right, good, bad, up, down, left, right. He doesn't know what the fuck to think. In one place, Prabhupada's letting people go. In another place, Chaitanya is saying, get the fuck out of here. And then in another place, he's committing suicide. But in another place, Krishna says, hey, just let everybody go. And then Prabhupada lets them go. And it will be, yeah, because it's a bunch of bullshit. That's what I'm saying. None of it makes sense. And you guys are fucking creeps and pedophiles. You can't make sense of this. You can't make sense of it. Ramananda Roy with his hand rubbing all over their bodies, coming out of covering their pubic area when Krishna's got their clothes. This guy doesn't know if that's right or wrong. He doesn't know. He can't figure it out. Oh, all illicit sex is wrong and child abuse and I just don't know. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Fucking A, man. Tell me these people aren't fucked up in the head. Tell me these people aren't fucked up in the head. You got a guy sitting there, he don't know if child abuse is wrong, right? If it's good, bad. Everybody looks down on it now, but hey, maybe in the future, everyone's going to be like, yay, child abuse, yay. I don't know if that'll be good or bad. Well, why are you bringing it up then? I've never heard of anybody say, yeah, child sexual abuse is really horrible, but maybe in the future, hey, you never know, maybe in the future it's going to be okay. Why would you even think that? We can't round up people we don't like and just chop their heads off. But, maybe in the future, maybe one day. What a psycho. What a fucking psycho. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at my bowl of rice, and I think I see Lord Chaitanya's face in this bowl of rice. Start seeing Lord Chaitanya's face on my toast, in my oatmeal, in my bowl of rice. It's insane. This is insane. This is one of the most insane videos I've ever seen. And I shouldn't be shocked because I've been saying this for like a year and a half. That it's in their books, that this is what they believe, that this is a pedophile factory. This guy just proved it all right here. This guy doesn't know what to think, and he's a leader. He says that's okay to pal around with these guys. And, hey, maybe in the future pedophilia will be okay. And he wants to compare gurus molesting little kids with Madhu Visa breaking his vows and having sex with a married woman or whatever he did. I don't even know what he did. This guy is insane. These people are insane. This has been one of the wackiest fucking videos I've ever seen. And I want to thank this David Dotto for putting it up, because from what I understand, this video was uploaded and then it was taken down. But it does reveal exactly what this guy thinks, and not only what he thinks, but what this whole movement is about. What this whole movement is about. He said it all. International Society of Epstein, copycats, pedophiles, insane, wacky, scammers. It's disgusting. These guys are disgusting. Look, the difference between Epstein and these guys is a big one. The big one is these guys knew what they were doing was wrong. Epstein knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew it was wrong. He knew those like underage girls. He knew what he was doing was wrong. These guys think they're above the law. They don't think what they're doing is wrong. They think what they're doing is perfectly okay because it says so in the scriptures. It says so in the stories. It says so in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says so in Prabhupada's books. Krishna says this. Prabhupada says that. That's the big difference. Epstein wasn't trying to change the world and turn everybody into a pedophile. But Prabhupada is. Epstein and these guys, they know what they were doing was wrong. This guy thinks that it's okay. This guy says what they're doing is not wrong. It's just the public's perception of right and wrong needs to change. Epstein knew what he was doing was wrong. Epstein knew what he was doing was wrong. These guys don't care. These guys think what they're doing is right because it says so in Prabhupada's books. That's the difference between these fucking guys. These guys are so much worse. These guys are so much worse because they think they think that they can do it according to God, according to scriptures, according to their law books, their Prabhupada law. That's why I say they're like the Taliban. They think they have a right to child marriage. They have a right. Jitterati and Tattva Darshan, they think they have a right to young girls. They have a right to take a young girl and use her, or a disciple, 35-year-old disciple. They have a right to use her. She's Maya. She's less intelligent. She's dumb. She's stupid. She's lusty. She's all of these things. They have a right to do this. They're above the law. We don't have to turn them into the police. We can send them to Juhu Beach. We can send them to Mayapur. And Rameshwar, instead of going to jail for what he did with that 13-year-old girl, now he's got a retirement. He's got a retirement plan based off of what he did with that little girl. Fuck these people. These people are sick and disgusting, and they are so much worse than Epstein that I can't even begin to tell you how fucking worse they are. Their whole fucking cult is around this shit. Epstein didn't have a cult. He just had clients. He just had rich guys that wanted to have sex with young girls. This is a whole friggin' cult built around this shit. And they think they're above the law, and they think they have a right to do this. They think they have a right to exploit who they exploit, and they have a right to use who they use. It's disgusting. A lot of people don't know about ISKCON because they're not spreading their disease as much in every town like Jehovah's Witness. Well, a lot of people, when the Krishnas have their big festival, man, a lot of people know about it and a lot of people show up. And I don't know of any Jehovah's Witness festival that draws as many people around the world as the ISKCON festivals. I don't know of one Jehovah's Witness festival, and I'm sure they have them. I'm sure Scientology has them. They all do them. But I know when ISKCON does their festival in Venice Beach, they have thousands and tens of thousands of people down there spreading their nonsense. And I don't know that Jehovah's Witness could have. Well, Jehovah's Witness, they have their retreats. They have their conventions, they have their thing. But they don't do things like the Krishnas do. So, but the Jehovah's go door to door, and they all cults do that. All cults do that. So they're very similar. They're very much the same. Very much the same. I used to work with a Jehovah's Witness, so I know all about them. I never was one, but I was adjacent. I was adjacent to one. I know all about them. But listen, everybody, I want to thank everybody for joining in today, man. It was a great show. This is so disgusting. This has been one of the worst. This has been one of the worst ones. And you know what? I haven't done in a long time. I haven't rang the bell. Ring the bell. Class is over. And where's my where's my name here? Here we go. So Bhakti Venmo Sri Mukunda Swami, that's me. If you want to know who I was, yeah, that's me there. And I want to, again, like I said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Next time, I think the next show I'm going to do Wheel of Idiot. Hey, yeah, gotta get that bell in there. Hey, Jai Ganapati, glad to see you. Yeah, you got to check it out on the replay. A couple good jokes in there. Really disgusting show. It's a really good one though. So it's a really good show today. I'm really excited about this one. Please like, share, and subscribe, man. If you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed in a long time, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining in. Justice for little girls, absolutely. Justice for little girls and little boys. Justice for everybody. And everybody, please have a great day, great night, great morning, great afternoon. Thanks for joining in. Have some great luck. And please stay out of a cult. And all you new people that this is your first time, here is me as a Hare Krishna a long time ago. Bye.